Hey everybody, it's Ben Murphy. I'm with Deuce Kirk of the Deuce Kirk Real Estate Team. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Living in Lexington. In today's video, we're actually going to give you, the viewer, 10 tips on how to sell your home without a realtor. So step one, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to selling your home, we have a term here in the business called curb appeal. Deuce, can you explain what curb appeal means to us?
Curb appeal means your house needs to look fantastic from the road. As they're driving down the road and they see the curb, they see your house. Your house needs to look spot on perfect from the road. If it doesn't, they may not even come in.
Okay, so I'm trying to sell my home. I don't know what curb appeal was. I thought my home looks great. What are things that I should look out for in regards to making sure my home looks better than everyone else's?
Well, we've got a 70, 80 bullet point list that goes into detail, but what you need to have, it's like everything, it's pretty much common sense. I mean, your grass needs to be cut, edge the sidewalk, trim the bushes, put down new mulch, paint the outside, make it look, your house needs to be the best looking one on the street, period.
Mm-hmm. So all the things like power washing the windows, making sure there's no cracks, making sure trash is picked up, put away, like all that stuff makes a huge difference for buyers.
Yep, and the driveway needs to be clear. The old jacked up car needs to be somewhere else. It's got to look good, man.
Yeah, so this is honestly a business where people do judge a book by its cover before they even step in a house.
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, it's kind of like if you go to a car lot to buy a new car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to see the cars back in the shop getting worked on, or do you want to see the ones on the front row looking like $1 million? You want to see the one on the front row. Same with your house. Your house needs to be the one on the front row looking like $1 million. Boom. All right, step 2, staging the home. Tell them how that works, Ben.
So staging is a professional term for those of you who don't know. It comes towards basically making the inside of your home look really nice. And you've heard the term feng shui. Well, that's pretty much what it is. It's you want to make your home seem, I guess it's really weird how to describe it for someone who's not, I guess, used to it. The couch needs to be in the right place. Things need to be put away. You know, it's not necessarily about cleaning. It's more just about inviting. You want your home to be an inviting space. Even though they're not going to use that furniture, they're not going to have maybe certain things the way it's supposed to be, but staging your home to make it look like it's ready to move in is huge for buyers. They don't want to walk in and look at a project. Right. They even if they know the house may have some problems going in, they're okay, but if they're going in not expecting problems and they see problems, uncleanliness, even a broken TV, that broken TV won't be there, but that's a project to them. So you want to make sure your home is staged like you could literally walk out, they could walk in and be right at home. When it comes to getting ready to sell your home, is you want to make sure you have photos out there on the internet, you know, showcasing your home. Deuce, professional photography for real estate, is it that important?
It is. It really is. I mean, you know, it's super competitive market. And if you're going to get the top dollar out of the house, you've got to have pictures looking perfect. When somebody clicks on it, it needs to get their attention. You can't. I mean, you can walk around with your iPhone and put it on there, and people do that, but it's very competitive. And if you want to win, well, the first thing you got to do is get them to the house. If they don't like what they're seeing when they're clicking around, they might not come. If the photos were better, maybe they would come. So, yeah, that's huge, man, because that's the first interaction and the first view's got to look good.
Gotcha. So if I'm a for sale by owner and I hear this, I'm like, okay, I need to go find a photographer. Can I just get any photographer, like a wedding photographer, a puppy dog photographer, or is there like an actual real estate market for photography?
Well, I've learned the hard way that yeah, there's you can go get just a wedding photographer, I guess that's better than nothing, but a real estate photographer is what you need because they know how to make it look good.
Oh. So
it makes a difference.
Okay, so if you are thinking about selling your home, you really need to get professional photos taken. Deuce, I got a quick final question for you. Do you have a 2 or 3 that you just automatically think of?
I've got my go-to, and then I have 2 others on the second string.
So make sure when you are thinking about getting photos done, don't just do it yourself. Unless you are a photographer, but I don't know, hiring a professional, it's going to make that process a little bit easier for you.
It makes a difference. All right, Ben, step number 4, the marketing plan. Why is that important?
Well, that's how you sell your house. I mean, that's what 95% of what realtors do, and I think that's something that probably goes unnoticed and unappreciated when you're a for sale by owner, and it's really, really tough. So when it comes to marketing, ladies and gentlemen, you got to make sure that you hit up every single website. Just because you upload it to one doesn't mean it's going to go to all the others, so you got to make sure it's on every single one of the major ones. Not all websites are created equal, and so you got to make sure they're all on there. Some other marketing ideas that you could definitely do is, besides getting a professional photographer, you can actually do a video tour of your home. Those are very popular nowadays, especially since we're doing those with our team here on our channel, and we do get a lot of great feedback from them. So it's another thing to bring it to your home, a buyer to your home, I should say. That's what marketing is. You're trying to bring them to your home. Very few buyers nowadays are buying sight unseen. 2020, that was a different time, but we're in 2023, people want to see the home in person. So marketing is how you bring those buyers to your home. And so just make sure that you're getting it on every single site. You can also buy Facebook ads, you can buy social media ads. Those are other ways to kind of push your home out to people who are potentially buying and looking to buy. So those are just a few things that you can do. Here at the Deuce Kirk team, we actually have a 34-step marketing plan that we execute every single time on homes. What are some of the big things that are probably different than what maybe a for sale by owner?
Well, the big thing is we don't have it on just one website. We've got it on 175, 180 websites. And that's, we've just got a little bit more leverage. As a for sale by owner, if you can only do one, that's fine. But getting it out there on the web it's been big for a long time, but it's really big now. And the quality of the photographs and the videos and everything you've got online has got to be like top quality, or boom, they're gone. They're on to the next one.
Mm-hmm. So, and the last thing I will mention when it comes to working with the realtors, we put it on the MLS, which is the main listing site for all realtors. It's our professionalrealtor.com, Zillow.com, if you want to think about it. And it's cool too, because like say Deuce listed a home, I got a buyer that I'm working with, and his house fits the criteria of my buyer. It automatically notifies my buyer when the home is listed. So you're actually going to be one of the first people to see it. So that's kind of a perk when it comes to working with an agent and listing your home. It's immediately going to hit all the buyer's agents in the area who are shopping and may have a buyer that is looking for a home just like yours. Whereas Zillow, Realtor, it may take a week or two for them to get that house and actually see that house unless they're physically looking for your home. So something to think about when it comes to listing your home and doing it by yourself versus working with an agent.
What's up, Ben? Showings. What is the most important part about showings?
So step 5, when it comes to showings, that's where it gets a little tough for if you're trying to do it by yourself. Most of us have jobs. We all have jobs. Even as realtors, we're working, and it can be tough to try to get your home and get buyers in. So, you may be working, but a buyer may be off that day. Maybe your buyer wants to come look at it at 12 o'clock in the middle of the day, and you're stuck at work. How are you going to show your home? You don't show your home. Well, instead, that buyer goes and looks at 2 or 3 other properties and decides to buy one of those. That's the biggest, probably, hurdle a for sale by owner is probably going to have to go through. And, if you are working 9 to 5 and you can only show it from 5 to 9, you're showing your home from 5 to 9. And you're going to have to coordinate that with people who want to come look at your home. Your house needs to stay relatively clean, if not very, very, very clean. You got to have that curb appeal. You got to make sure everything is pristine and good condition. You got to make sure it's staged properly every single day, because you never know when a buyer is going to show up. And when it comes to showing your home too, something you need to think about is making sure you're not just letting anyone into your home. make sure they're pre-qualified. Make sure they have a loan. Make sure they're got financing. If they say I'm going to buy it in all cash, ask them for a bank statement. Like, don't like you'll be surprised how many people just want to come look inside your house with no intention of buying it. That's what's kind of cool. Again, when you work with an agent, you have a buyer's agent that'll actually come show the home to them. So only realtors have access to get inside your home when you're working with an agent, and those clients are pre-qualified. You know those buyers are ready to buy a home, and that's one of the biggest hurdles when it comes to showings. Weekends, I mean, you're going to have to do weekends without a doubt, because that's probably, if that's the only time you're off, that's the only time you're off. And if you're off Tuesdays and Wednesdays, you work all weekend. I mean, that's gonna be real tough for you as a for sale by owner. Now, working with us, working with an agent, we can show your home on weekends. We can do open houses. We can still get people in. The whole point of getting your house sold is getting as many people in it as much as you can. And if you can only get them in between 5 p.m. and 9 p.m. 5 days a week, you're going to be really hard pressed to sell your home and get top dollar for what you want for it. All right, step 7, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to getting your home sold when you're doing it for sale by owner situation, I want to talk to you a little bit about what's called a CMA, a comparative market analysis. And that's how you actually price your home. That's how we price our homes when we go to sell them. Now, the biggest issue with this, with most home buyers, or I should not home buyers, I should say for sale by owners, is it's harder than it looks. You know, you can definitely, try to compare your house to a house that's sold down the street, but if it's got an extra 800 square feet, one extra bedroom, I mean, we're talking about 2 different houses, okay? And some of the things that we look at, especially we try to compare your home to the homes that are in your vicinity, whether they're in your subdivision, your neighborhood. We'll look at the homes that have sold in the last 6 months in your area, compare them, how big they are, how many bedrooms, how quickly did they sell. That plays a huge factor in it, believe it or not, especially within a 6-month time frame. The market does not shift that dramatically, especially now that everything's kind of calmed down here in the area, especially in the Lexington, Central Kentucky area. I will say a good home does sell, but if it's priced way too high, buyers aren't going to sell it. Okay, there's a couple different types of buyers out there. The ones that are serious in a hurry are probably with a buyer's agent, and odds are that buyer's agent's going to look at them. They're going to see that house, they're going to see that price, and they're going to go, guys, this house is way overpriced. Okay, so and more times than not, if a buyer is working with an agent, they're not coming to look at your house because your house isn't listed on their main listing site. Okay, you're missing out on a huge market of people when you don't list it with an agent. So just kind of be prepared for that. But when we're talking in regards to marketing your home and selling your home and pricing your home, which is what this is, step 7, you've got to make sure that you look at all the fine details of each house that has sold in your area in the last 6 months. And if there hasn't been that many, you need to back it up farther and farther, even maybe a year before, and see what homes were selling, compare it to square footage, bed, and, look at what the prices were and how quickly they sold. That plays a huge factor if you can gather that information. So just think about those key things when you go to price your home.
All right, so step 8, negotiations. What do you have to say about that, Ben?
See, I think this is a unique situation because we do this weekly. We are constantly negotiating with other realtors, homeowners, buyers. And if you're doing this by yourself, for sale by owner, especially if you're going to negotiate with a realtor, without a realtor, I should say, and the buyer agent the buyer has a realtor, I mean, you're outgunned. If you're not in sales, you're not into this, and you're not doing this daily, I mean, you're already behind. The average for sale by owner, most recent statistics that I saw, sell their home for 7 to 15% less than what their market value is. So that goes right into, I believe, with the negotiations. It can be part of the CMA that we just recently talked about, part of your marketing. But especially if you're going to negotiate against Realtor, I mean, it's our job to get the best deal for our client. And that's why, again, working with a guy like Deuce, who's been doing this forever, just kidding, but he's been doing this long enough to know what your best deal is and what to, kind of get around all those other negotiation tactics and strategies to make sure you get your best deal. And so if you're a for sale by owner, you've got to be ready and understand that negotiations are going to be tough. They're going to, it may not seem like a fair deal to you, but that's part of it is getting to the deal to get to the closing. And I think that's probably one of the biggest struggles when it comes to for sale by owners. What do you think?
Well, those stats you just said, 8 to 15% less because you didn't use a real estate agent or you didn't use a Deuce Kirk team. Okay, for sale by owner, that's fine, but do you really want to sell it for 8 or 10% less? I mean, on a $200,000 house, that's 15, 20 grand, man.
Yeah. So I mean,
that would more than cover our fee, and you're gonna come out ahead. They would come out with
yeah.
Pay us and have more money. So it's.
So now we've gotten past the negotiation part. Someone's going to put an offer on your house. You're signing a contract. Deuce, what are some of the big things that they need to think about and consider doing it by themselves versus, working with an agent?
Well, the first thing I would be concerned about is on the contract, it needs to be a legitimate legal binding contract that works in your favor. What kind of contract are they going to use? I don't know. There may be some kind of for sale by owner contracts out there. You can Google it and probably find one. But the thing about a contract, it needs to be legal binding, and it needs to be solid so that if something starts to happen throughout this process, you can hold your buyer in the deal and he doesn't disappear. And the right amount of good faith money is important. I mean, where's the for sale by owner going to hold the good faith deposit? And what's the for sale by owner going to do when the seller or when the buyer doesn't like whatever this or that on the inspection and he wants out? What's the for sale by owner going to do then? Give his money back and let him go? I don't know. You need to have because that right there happens all the time. And if it's not a solid contract with the proper terms and the inspection and things like that, if they're not handled properly, well, the buyer's out, and for some owners, and they're going, start all over.
Right. So there's a lot of ins and outs when it comes to contracts, whether it's legally binding, earnest deposit, where is it being held, who holds it. Most likely you're going to have to hire an attorney and pay an attorney fee. So now you're paying even more on top of your professional photography, your staging, all this other stuff. These costs are going to start to add up for you when you're doing it by yourself just to protect you. Whereas if you work with Deuce or myself, we're constantly thinking about these things. We're constantly thinking about these inspection contingencies to help make sure it protects you, just like how Deuce says, if the buyer wants to back out, great, but I'm keeping an earnest deposit based off of our, agreements. Most for sale by owners just give it back, not realizing that, no, you're entitled to that money. So you really want to make sure that if you're going to do this by yourself, you get with an attorney so you are protected in the long run when it comes. It's just in case a deal does blow up, and maybe you thought you were going to be keeping your refrigerator and they thought you were leaving it. It's tiny little things like that could end a deal, blow up a deal, create lawsuits, and you just got to make sure that you protect yourself. So step 10, ladies and gentlemen, you're finally in the home stretch. You're now scheduling your closing. You're running a title search. Deuce, kind of give them an idea of what that entails in regards to closing a home.
Well, that's usually generated by the buyer on the buyer's end of thing. Most people get a loan. Now, if they're paying cash, you've got to set up the title company, the closing agent, the closing attorney. All that would be on you. The owner's going to take care of all that. But most people do get loans, and if they're getting a loan, that's going to be on the lender's part. So most lenders have specific attorneys, specific closing offices, specific title companies that they use. So the sub owner might not have to worry about it too much unless they're paying cash. If they're paying cash, that's going to be a little bit of a different deal. But that's actually, if I'm a sub owner, I probably wouldn't be too crazy worried about that part.
Mm-hmm. So what does the title search do? Like what what are they looking for when they're looking for a title?
Well, the title company goes back and looks at the chain of command throughout the history of the property. And it's kind of weird how it works, but the title goes backwards in events that happened prior to your ownership. There could have been something there could be some kind of lien on the property that nobody knows about. All of a sudden, the title company says, yeah, this right here happened, and this has got a lien on the property, and this needs to be taken care of. This needs to be taken care of before we can close. I have seen that happen before, and that's not a good time when that happens. But that's what the title company does. They want to make sure the new person's getting a clean title and everything's good.
So it is important to do that. It's not just they give you money and you give them keys.
No.
It's almost like buying a car. I mean, you've got all kinds of processes that you want to make sure you're clean and protected. It's just another step.
Right.
Hey everybody, that does it for today's video. Thank you so much for sticking around here till the end. If you haven't done so already, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button. It's going to help get these videos out there, especially for those who are trying to research more about the area and trying to make the decision on where they want to land when it comes to moving. And if you are one of those people, then you got to do the next thing, which is hit that subscribe button. You're going to be notified every single time we release a video, and we're up to doing 3 videos a week at this point. And so you're going to be constantly updated about what's going on in the area, things to do, the real estate market. So you got to hit that subscribe button if you haven't so already. Thank you so much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. This is Ben Murphy with the Deuce Kirk team at eXp Realty, living in Lexington. Y'all have a good day.